Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of When Artist Speaks. You guys will be happy to know that we are about to close out season one. We have one more episode after tonight's episode, and I thank you so much for tapping in. If you are viewing us from YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on the podcast platforms, please, if you don't feel comfortable subscribing to the channel, leave us a review. The best thing you can do for podcast people is leaving us a review. Be respectful though. I always got to give that disclaimer on every episode because I can get disrespectful. So I am back today with, all the artists I bring on this show are absolutely some of my favorite people, so this artist tonight is no different. And so Miss Danie Savage is here. I'm going to let her tell you guys a little bit about who she is. I did have an opportunity to meet Danie on the Clubhouse app when 2020 and the pandemic was taking off and people were just trying to find ways to connect. I came across Danie. We communed in some different rooms that was glorifying God because y'all know I'm Team Jesus over here all day, every day, 100%. Don't like it, walk away, right? And got a chance to meet Danie and got a chance to connect with her. And we connected off the app and we've been connected ever since. And so I'm going to be quiet so that Danie can tell the world who she is. Hey, Danie, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Stacey. First and foremost, you guys are podcasting with this wonderful woman. I'm so grateful to be here on this show with Stacey, such a freaking light and such a strong woman of God. So I really am thankful to be here. As Stacey said, my name is Danie Savage. I am, a lifelong educator, a mama, a lover of God, and a bumper of gangster rap music.
Okay.
Not heavy on it, real light. I am a mother. I'm a recently published author. Let's see. And I'm just an all-around creative. I guess I would call myself a multidisciplinary artist. I feel like now about to be 34, although I was sharing with Stacey before we went live that I recently changed my name and my age, so y'all don't tell nobody I'm turning 34 on the 30th, but I'm really 26, about to be 27. So but I feel that now at 34, God is really breaking a lot of things and allowing me to see the gift that he put in me. And it's not just for my family to say, wow, you're so talented, but it's really to bless folks with and to ultimately end up blessing myself with, because the things that we have, our gifts, they're to bless others, but they're really to help us. And so I feel like I'm now in that stage, in that healing stage, in that helpful stage for myself and for my community.
Okay. We got into it yet, and y'all see that's what drew me is her ability to articulate who she is, and even being so humble and sharing the things that she struggles with. That's one thing that I appreciated a great deal about Danie is Danie did not, sometimes when you meet other believers, they try to put on this air of perfection, and they put on this air of, because I got Jesus, I'm just good with life. And although because I got Jesus, it's good, life sometimes ain't always that good. And I love that, she was very honest about, look, I'm struggling with this. This is what's going on. I feel like I'm doing this, and this is what's happening. And I just know so many people who walk the faith that just don't allow themselves that opportunity to be vulnerable, and that humility that really allows God to kind of wash over your heart. And you get the opportunity to experience his comfort and his grace, because he's not a browbeater. He's not going to bust you over the head and damn you to hell and all of that. But when you don't open up and you don't allow the vulnerabilities of your humanity to be expressed before him, you don't get to see that side of him. And so Danie she's not kidding when she says she's a multidisciplinary artist, because Danie does poetry, Danie sings, Danie Danie does lyricism. She's now a published author. She does, art in the form of tangible art, like you see putting my hands on stuff behind me. And so I am excited to share with share her with the people that I know, with the audience, the pool of audience that I know, but also to give her an opportunity to share even more of herself than she shared on some of the platforms. So you'll get a chance to kind of hear about her book, some of the products she has available, and also other ways to connect with her, and just to engage, because that's the purpose of this podcast, this platform, is to have a conversation as artists and really just speak. It's not even, there's not a lot of rhyme or reason around it. It's just to give an opportunity for voices that would otherwise go unheard to an extent to be heard. And so that somebody will come back and listen to this and say, oh, I remember hearing this and seeing this, and I wanted to get one of those books, or I wanted to get one of those pieces. And so that's why we're here. So let's get right into it. Danny. All
Yes.
right. I am subscribed to Danny's YouTube channel, and Danie has published a couple of visual, uh, audio and visual pieces to her YouTube channel. So what I'll do is I'm going to put the ticker on the screen, and we're going to talk a little bit about Danie and how to connect with her on that way. But let's talk about what you got going on, Danie. What's happening in the world of Danie? Who is Danie Savage? Now I have to get used to the new name. Who is Danie Savage, aka Elle?
Elle. I mean, honestly, we could start right there. For the longest, everybody has always called me Danie because my name is Danielle. My last name really is Savage. And so that just kind of seemed like a natural stage name, I guess, for me to take on. But I always felt like Danie Savage was so like hardcore, and it just seemed so kind of like a gritty type of name. And so for the longest, I'm like, I need a name that represents my strength, but that also represents my softness. Because in a lot of my music, it is, displaying the power of God. Not necessarily the power that I have, but it comes across as me just being this really strong individual. And I am. And yet I'm also very soft. And so, Danielle, Elle, just the last part of my name, actually, Stacey. So I'm dating. I've actually been sharing that with you. I'm taking a break now. Praise God. But I never give my actual name on these dating sites. And so, I mean, I've had all types of names. I've had D, very not creative at all. I've had Dad, which was a conversation starter for sure. A lot of people would get mad if I told them my name is Dad, and a couple other names. And then I ended up landing on Elle. And I thought it was cute. I thought it was feminine. I thought that it represented my softer side. So now it's just the trouble of getting everybody to switch from Danie to Elle. But, Diddy did it. I still call him Puffy, but people call him P. Diddy. Lavender wants to say hi. Say
Oh,
hi.
if you're listening on the podcast platforms, that's her kitty cat. See, that's why you should subscribe to YouTube so you can see the video. Because you miss out. You miss out.
You gotta get down.
I didn't see my husband is deathly allergic to cats, so I could never have one nearby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my little second child. I didn't realize it was going to be like that. But here we are.
Nobody, see, they need to have a class when people be like, oh, I want a dog, I want a cat. It is literally another being. It's another child that you take care of. And the love is different because their timelines are shorter. So you're like, you really be loved. And they're so unconditional when they love you, when they belong to you and they are yours. Oh my goodness. That's why you'll go to the vet and drop that $300 when something ain't right. You cringe and you holding on to your pearls, but you're going to pay this money, fix my baby.
Yeah. That's what they really are. Huh. But yeah, so I mean, back to what you had asked about, what am I focusing on? Right now, it's really just been this book. So as Stacey said earlier, I'm a newly published author. This book is called Finding Beautiful.
Oh.
It is the story about a little girl named Beautiful. She's always been a curious child, asking lots of questions, but lately she's been questioning her self worth.
Mm.
So she goes and she talks to her mom. She brings her concerns to mama. And, mama has to be vulnerable and kind of walk her through her own girlhood past when she didn't see things clearly. And what was it that she did to find who she was and to find her beauty. And she started telling Beautiful, her daughter, about the different women, Alexa Kennedy, Ida B. Wells, Angela Davis, the different women who looked like her, but who also had that inner strength that guided them. And so
Mhm.
they had, a moment of understanding. And she ended up being able to apply that wisdom on the playground and to really let her light shine. And at the end of the day, it's just a book about reinforcing mother-daughter relationships through simple conversation. A
Mhm.
lot of times, some of the most powerful pieces of information that you can find out about your child. And I'm no parenting expert at all. I actually just started reading a book by Andy Stanley about, it's called Parenting because I need help. I need help, Stacey. Um, but I've learned that one of the most powerful ways that you can parent is just by being there and allowing yourself to listen when your child comes to you and then being vulnerable
Mhm.
enough to share. So I've been focusing on that. I have lots of merch that I've been creating. As of right now, I only have to show y'all this calendar. Um,
I like it.
which I love this calendar, Stacey. I feel
Uh-huh.
like I'm all out of the frame, but yeah, this
I like it.
calendar and then a little mug that comes from one of the scenes of the book. This is actually one of my favorite pictures. We also just ordered, excuse me, we also just ordered some tote bags and some shirts and some
Okay.
air fresheners and all type of little things. So if you're interested, if any of that resonated with you, make sure to tap in either on my Instagram, and everything is in the bio, or you guys can just go straight to mygratitudetea.com. Everything is there for you. Definitely would appreciate the support, but I hope that it touches you. I hope that it blesses anyone who makes the investment the way that it blessed me to write it. Um, and so that's what I've mainly been working on.
I love it. Listen, your hands are busy, and it's a good
Yeah,
kind of busy. And so, for the people that are listening on the podcast platforms, she was showing like the different merch that she has: the mug, the calendar, the book, and the book is a children's book. And
yes,
I love that authors are coming out, women, people of color are really coming out and putting out books and resources and materials from the experiences and the perspectives so that there can be representation and relatability. And
for
so I
sure.
absolutely love that. And so listen, you have, young girls, young daughters, if you are a part of any kind of community organizations, any kind of schools, anywhere where there's influence on young children, get this book because I feel like the libraries need to be filled up. There's so much digital stuff. Get that tangible book to put in their hands to
Get it.
flip through the pages and
It's important.
read. And I mean, because this is not about lining people's pockets. This is really about making impact in the world, and this is one of Danie's many contributions to the world. And so if you have a young daughter, young granddaughter, niece, a young neighbor that you may have come across that you feel like this would benefit, go to her website. I mean, the website alone, My Gratitude Tea. Come on, stop
Hmm.
it. I
Hmm.
love it. I'm here for all
Hmm.
that. So go to mygratitudetea.com, buy the book. Like, y'all, we spend $15 at the fast food restaurant
Yep,
eating stuff
fast.
that we just don't even need. Got to go to the doctor and get 5 million prescriptions to counteract the activity of what's happening in our bodies.
Help us,
If
Lord.
you can spend, $10, $15 on that, you can log in somewhere and you can buy this book and really help, you know, be the extension of the hand that Danie is trying to put out there in the world because she really could take all of the other facets of who she is. If it was about making money, she could do that. She could go out there, she could put her voice on a piece of wax and get it in front of somebody's executive, and get a 5, 6, 7 digit whatever signed in front of her. But she wants to make an impact as she walks that path. So, I'm here for it. I'm always here for when you pour out and you allow, God to just open you up and you try all of the new things. I went to a conference at the beginning of November. My friend hosts a conference every year. It's called the One Day Conference. It's
Hmm.
so simple in nature. And the tagline is something like, just take out of the other 364 days that are a blur, take one day for you.
Hmm.
And it's literally one day. It's not even a whole day. It's like 6 or 7 hours. And it's such a refreshing experience. You're sitting in this room. It's not a lot of hoopla and fanfare, but it's nicely decorated. You're in the room. It's very intimate. It's like 20, 25 women at max, right? And there are different subject matters that you're being talked through, vulnerabilities and things like that. And so, in sitting in that space and really kind of, and one of the things that came out of that session that they had this year was, be curious about you. Be curious,
Hmm.
so curious about you that you're going to just dig into you until everything that's in you, you learn, you find out, and you at least try. And so I love that, although you are an educator and you are a mother and people know you to be, poetry, and people know you to sing, you're taking your hand at your authorship, you're doing the artistry. I love it. Just keep being curious about you.
Amen.
So, so. One thing that I loved about Danie too, that I love about Danie is how authentic she is. I love the authenticity in how, you love God with all your heart. That's clear. That's evident. Don't need a whole lot to shake that, right? But on the same side of that, you're still very much who you are. You're still very much a mother. You're still very much getting in tune with the things that God created you to express. And so, why don't we talk a little bit about, sort of this journey to where you are today, before we start getting into where you're going to end up. Like, what's that journey like, from where you started to where you are today?
Yeah. Excuse me if the camera is wobbling. My cat has jumped on the table and I think he's going to try to successfully jump in my lap, but we'll see. Um, well, I got my start in Oakland, California. And I came from a wonderful family. I had a beautiful mother who just had a lot on her plate. And so she did the best that she could, but she made a lot of mistakes, as parents do.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up developing an affinity for the streets. Now, I was never raised like that, to be, I guess, street minded, but I was raised around it. And so I just ended up gravitating towards it, and eventually just began to develop my identity around who I was and my successes, um, in that piece of myself. Um, and so I ended up um, just going through a time, y'all. I'm not abusing my cat. He's okay. Um, Going through a time really of just rejecting the pieces of me that I felt like weren't accepted,
Mm-hmm.
um, and which were my more softer, vulnerable parts. And so I ended up polishing a lot of my armor, a lot of what kept me safe in the environments that I was now dwelling in, but then also which kind of made me, at least in my eyes at the time, a more likable person, a person
Mm-hmm.
that you want to be around, a person that you would look at and say, "Wow." Because I didn't feel that. I didn't feel that I was a very special child. I felt like, out of all the cousins or all the friends, I probably had the least of whatever that was, whatever that it was. Um, and so, by the grace of God, my journey ended up taking me to Grambling State University, the best university
Mm.
in the world, in Grambling, Louisiana. And lots of things happened. I delved in all type of things because I was searching. I was searching for myself, but I was really searching for God. I was really searching for something bigger than myself because I knew from a young age that I didn't have it, and a part of that came from just insecurities and lack of esteem. But I also praise God for, I guess, what you would call that thorn in the flesh, because
Mhm.
while that was a pain point for me, that was also a point that has kept me in humility, knowing that I'm not all there is. And I've always known that. And so when I was in college, I was searching, was going through different religions, but God ended up revealing himself to me as the one true God. I ended up opening my spirit up to a lot of stuff down in Louisiana, if you know what I mean. And so um, it ended up being that Jesus Christ was the name that some things submitted to. And so I knew he showed me that he was real.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and so when I found Christ, he just kind of started unpeeling the layers. I feel like that sounds so like cliche. He unpeeled my layers.
No, that's facts though. Mhm. But
But
that's
he
exactly
did.
how it happens.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
And just started showing me all these beautiful parts of me, the parts that I thought I needed to hide, the vulnerable parts, the parts
Mhm.
that the little quirky girl, the girl who was into like science and who liked to talk proper, like everything that I felt like wasn't accepted, and at some point it wasn't. That was confirmed, and yet God started revealing that to me, and I began to embrace that. And so I continue to kind of allow that part of me to grow.
Mhm.
And so while at one point in my youth, I was highlighting other parts of me, I just kind of started to accept myself holistically.
Mhm.
And that's even up to date, sis. That's even up to date,
Mhm.
that I'm still working on that. And so I got into education because I wanted to go into the classrooms with some of the babies who were raised in situations or in areas like I was raised in, and just instill a sense of identity, a sense of esteem into them. Because although I'm not shaming or talking down on anybody who mm, who was raised in the lifestyle that I went to, who was raised in the streets, and who are still in the streets, there's no talking down on that. And yet for kids like me, I may have been raised around it, but that was never, how do I say this?
It was never your means to survive. Like for
It was
some of
never
them, they
who
didn't
I
have a
was.
choice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was never who
Mhm.
I was. I kind of felt like I didn't have a choice because in order to be accepted, I thought, this is me. I thought in order to be accepted that I needed to be in that lifestyle. Um, and so I really don't know where my point was, but giving the babies another avenue, other options, because I felt
Mhm.
like there were none. I couldn't be the quirky little light skinned girl who liked alternative rock and still be from Oakland, California, and still like some of the things that my peers like. Like there was no, for me, I didn't see any in between.
Mhm.
Coupled with the fact that I didn't feel a lot of love from my parents at home, and so I'm just really trying to be that bridge for those kids. Then I ended up having a daughter myself, and I knew before the doctor even told me the gender that it was going to be a girl, and I know this is not, I'm making this super spiritual, but I don't care.
It's okay. You
Shoot, God
you in
told,
the room.
listen, God told me that I was going to have a girl and that he was going to change some things. He was going to change
Mm-hmm.
some things in my lineage. And so from there, I've just, with lots of stumbles and tumbles, but I've been very intentional from there. And a lot of that comes out in my art. A lot of that comes out in my songs. I It is very intentional, even to my art pieces. None of this is for sale yet. And I don't know if this can be seen. And sorry for the
Ooh.
people who are listening, but this is dedicated to my daughter. I want her to succeed. She is
Mm-hmm.
job covered by Christ. We are breaking
Mm-hmm.
generational curses. She's being taught, because babies have to be disciplined, but she's being loved. I support my daughter. She is a gift. I'm gonna treat her with kindness. I'm gonna be grateful. I'm not gonna worry about what could have happened if I wasn't a single mother. And then right here, along where her lips are, her mouth, they're celebrating my
Mm-hmm.
daughter instead of tearing her
Mm-hmm.
down. And even with my gratitude tea, my website is representative of the company that her and I actually founded together, called Gratitude and Lavender Tea. And it is a company about uplifting young girls and young women from all walks of life, and helping them out with social emotional wellness and overall self-esteem. And everything that I've been doing is geared toward that, because I don't want any more young Danielles, or any more young, my mom, I'm not going to say her
Mm-hmm.
name, but I don't want them to feel like they can't show up as all of them. They can't
Mm-hmm.
be this and that. That they have to continuously hide a piece of them that they really
Mm-hmm.
love, but they feel like everybody else won't, and so they kind of hide it. And so, yeah, that's how. Excuse me. That's how everything started, and that's why it started.
I love it. I love it. I know sometimes in the couple of conversations we've had, you're doing very well not apologizing anymore, because you used to be real apologetic, and I was like, for what
Yep.
though? Because I
Yep.
don't understand. Just you're good to go. I
Hmm.
love,
Hmm.
but I love
Hmm.
that you have this awareness, right? Because sometimes, depending on what we go through, we can go through things, and the pain of it can be so unbearable that
Hmm.
you suppress it. So it doesn't necessarily mean you faced it, you dealt with it, you've just suppressed it. And then certain things will happen. You'll encounter people that had nothing to do with what you went through, and they'll trigger, and those painful spurts will kind of express. And so that's, for me, is how I learned how to start being aware. I remember, I don't know who she was to me, but there was this lady that I had talked to, and she was like, this is going to sound super cliche to you, sweetie. She's like, but it is the cleanest statement I can give you. You will never conquer what you will not confront.
Hmm.
And she
Hmm.
said, and whatever you confront, understand that it cannot kill you. Because if it were to kill you, it would have killed you when it initially happened. But because it
Interesting.
didn't, it can't kill you now. It's a shadow of what you've endured. Deal with the pain of
Mm.
it so that you can conquer it. And I
Hmm.
was like, oh, and that's what started that journey for me of being aware. Because I remember us having this conversation when I first moved to Florida. And you
Hmm.
were like, every time I talk to you, you got a testimony. And it's
Yep.
because I had to learn, I had to learn how to, my words used to always be centered around my struggles. I went
Mm.
through this. This was like this. I hated this. This happened to me. And I wasn't overcoming because I wasn't telling my testimony. I was telling what I've
Mm.
been through, but finish the sentence. Finish the
We
sentence of,
overcome.
yeah, that you
Yeah.
went through this. And that's
Yeah.
how you're going to overcome, by the telling of your testimony. And so
Yes.
that's why when you hear me share things, I share things with a, but God did this, and God did this,
I
and
like
look
that.
at this. Let me tell you what happened with this.
Hmm.
And yeah, to the point that, like, like even you getting ready to share what you were sharing earlier, we oftentimes will put a label on it to ease other people's comforts and say, I don't want to be super spiritual. Baby, listen to me. Let me explain something to you. I'm going to put the hat on. I'm going to have the shirt on. I'm going to have the mug because the way that God has come through for me in a
Mm.
clutch,
Come
and
on,
like,
Stacey.
I mean, it's crazy, right? Like, I had I listened to a teaching just recently. I was like in this weird slump where I wasn't, I wasn't sad, but I wasn't living in that continuous joy. I just
Mm,
kind of was sitting. Like I won't doing nothing. I won't doing nothing. I was just sitting. Like, do something. Pray, breathe, do something. I
mm,
just take a shower, brush my teeth, wash my face, and sit. And
mm.
and that was like that for a while. It was like that for a good little while.
Wow.
And then and so then like today I got up, and I'm not even finna tell you no lie. I got up with the intention of my daughter's in town for the holiday. So I got up, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna just go to church because it's what you're supposed to do. You're
Mhm.
supposed to go to church, Stacey. Go to church." So I got dressed, went to church. And I should have known that God was like, "Baby, you don't even know. I'm about to bust you in the face when you walk up
Mm,
in. You think you're gonna get in there, you think you can get the seat? I got you." And it was the vessel was so clean and just clear. And I knew it was like I was
mm,
sitting in the back and God was talking to me. It's a few hundred people in there.
mm,
He was in my business, right? And one of the things that he said today was he says, you have to stop looking at your situation and stop looking at life from the situation you're in and start looking
mm.
at life for revelation because Jesus always reveals himself. So when you were
Interesting.
talking earlier about God revealing himself to you, it confirmed, right? It
Wow.
confirmed. Like,
Wow.
and I'm, yo, when I tell you
Mm,
the grace and the graciousness of God. Like God's like, yo, I'm trying to really be all up in your business and in your life in the best way possible. And
mhm,
so with you sharing what you shared about your life and even what you are currently dealing with, it really is encouraging. Like, I'm not kidding, you confirmed it for me when you said God revealed himself to me, and Jesus revealed, God revealed himself as the one true God, and Jesus revealed
mm.
himself. Come on, yo, I mean, you can't get no, you wasn't sitting in Orlando with me today. So I love that you are just kind of unfolding things. And I really want to speak to the audience about, and I say this, I haven't said this on every episode, but I try to say this as often as I can to really tap into the creativity of who you are. Although you are a created thing, you are
Mhm,
a created thing with creativity within you,
mhm,
and the creativity within you does not look like the person sitting next to you. Like everybody can be doing something and it may be similar, but it is not the same.
mhm.
Nothing, everything that God does is new.
Yes.
Everything. You can write a book and have the book have the exact same title as somebody else that wrote a book. You could do
Mhm,
the same dimensions, you could do the same number of pages, you could
mhm,
use the same publisher, and the book would still be different because the
mhm,
content from the person that created it is different. And so
mhm,
I wish we would kind of look at ourselves like that and stop limiting ourselves, but we limit God. So I'm not
mhm,
surprised that we
mhm.
limit ourselves, right? And so I absolutely love, love, love what you have shared. Love what you have shared. And so I want to talk a little bit about like you shared about like you're authoring your book. And I love that. I really do hope people support this book. Come on, stop.
People are though, Stacey. People really are, and I mean
Mhm.
that's. I've been, you know, life has been changing, and yet that has been such a consistent light. People from all walks of my life, from when I was, in high school, middle school, when I was in the streets, people in college, I'm getting so much support, and it really is a blessing. And it's nice to have a confirmation that I was able to create something that people find valuable. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, y'all go hit that link.
Well, I want to talk about probably one of the the things about you, the gifts that you possess that still hit me in my heartstrings today, and that's your voice. Okay. Your voice is, I can't describe it, but I love when you sing. It is like one of my favorite things. And like, I know when we were connected on Clubhouse, I would always be like, "Yo, let me know when you want to do some studio time, because I want to sew into that, because I know people who have beautiful melodious voices, but I know the intent behind their singing. I'm trying to be the next top 10 Billboard Grammy
Mhm.
Award winning, everybody know my name, worship me. But the purity and the clarity of your voice, it literally is like running water. It's beautiful. I love it. I absolutely love it. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Like, what awakened that in you?
Mhm. Wow. Thank you. That was a beautiful compliment.
Baby, it's the truth.
I
It's the truth.
appreciate it. Wow. Well, my family is very musical. I grew up in a musical family. My dad was a well known instrumentalist in the Bay Area, as was my mom. She was a well known vocalist. And I think I want to say is because they're still active, actually. Um, and yet, we never really had a whole lot.
Mhm.
Um, and so, coupled with the fact that my mom was always in the studio, always doing photo shoots, always at shows. Uh, Dad, very similar. So, coupled with the fact that we didn't have a lot, and with the fact that um, as a child, I knew my needs weren't being met. Like I ended up hating. I don't even know if hating is a strong word, but we'll use this word as a place marker to convey the power of the emotion that I felt toward my gift. I always had a pretty voice. I got it from my mom. She has a beautiful voice. And I always had a way with words. I leaned in toward the poetry side more than the singing, because poetry was an outlet to kind of express the things that I was going through at home that I couldn't really talk about with
Mhm.
anybody. So that's how that kind of began developing. But in terms of my voice, I honestly did not start to acknowledge and foster that gift until maybe my last year at the university at Grambling.
Mhm.
And that was because for years I always said, I'm never going to do my children, even before I had children, even before I had a daughter, I'm never going to do my children the way that my parents did me. And this is not, to slight my parents, because as I said before, they did the best that they could with what they
Mhm.
had. And yet I just know how I just kind of felt like music scarred me. And so I tried to stay away
Mm.
from it.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess I could have said that. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I felt like music scarred me. And so I stayed away from it until I got saved and until God began to show me, no, baby, this is for me. You are a worshiper, and this is for you to give me glory. Even if what you're writing, what you're singing, what you're recording never reaches anybody's ears, you're doing this for me. And back to what you said about the testimony, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. Your testimony first, your music, every piece of your testimony, which is in your music, which is in your poetry, needs to hit your ears first before it hits
Mhm.
anybody else.
Mhm.
So it really became a thing where he showed me, baby, this gift is to further develop and deepen the relationship between us.
Hmm.
Um, and
Hmm.
Yeah, and you know what, Stacey? Like I say that with so much conviction, but even now, like I still kind of fight against that. Even now, I'll say, oh, I need to go hop in the studio, but there's something else that I could spend my money on, and even now, I need to go journal, I need to go express myself, and so even within that conviction, I'm still battling whatever it is inside of me, my flesh, that doesn't want for me to get that out. But as I'm talking, I'm really listening to myself, and I'm thinking that if I don't get that out, then that's doing nothing but halting the relationship, the deeper relationship that I do want with Christ.
Mhm.
So to every Christian creative out there, make sure that you're not being lazy about your gift, like I'm being convicted for right now, live on this podcast, because you want that relationship with Christ,
You
and
do.
being obedient and going ahead and expressing that. Um, I believe that'll deepen the connection for sure.
And so you won't feel alone on this conviction journey, because it was like today he did this awakening, right? Like me being in this little slump I've been in for God knows how long, right? And he's awakening stuff because, like, even what you're saying is he's saying similar things to me, because the
Mm,
truth is, when we think about the dynamic of the way we live, the world we live in today, where everything's visible, you've got cameras for everything. I literally was in a group. I was in a group setting with a group of young ladies, and we didn't know each other. We were just all kind of getting together to kind of see if we would, mesh and hang out. It was like a one of those, like, you live in the same area, you just want to see if you can get together. When I tell you, it was such a struggle for people to like turn their phones off,
mm,
or not try to take a picture of every cloud, or videotaping us walking down the sidewalk. And I heard one of the girls say,
mm.
um, I want to get a lot of content for consumption. And I was like, is that what we have, come down to? And so now I'm trying to be more intentional about moments. Like, prime example, Thanksgiving. I was like, please, everybody put their phones down, please. Please. Of course, we can take pictures of the food and send pictures to family. I'm not posting my pictures of my food. I'm gonna send it to my family to see what they eating,
Mhm.
this, that, the third. But put the phones down. And we put the phones down, and we were able to have conversations. Right. And then, like, a couple of weeks ago, prior to my little sitting still and doing nothing, my sister had invited me to her, was it a week, 2 weeks ago? Oh, it was just a week ago. Yeah, so it's been about a week or so. Had
Mhm.
invited me to her. She has a nonprofit organization, and she was having an event called the Uplift Her Network. It was a networking event. It was
Beautiful.
intimate, small group of women, and she'd asked me to speak. And I asked God. I said, okay, what you want me to say to these women? Because I ain't got nothing. And God was like, oh, you got something. And what it was about being able to be still with yourself, being able to be
Mm,
still with yourself. And he had me do this exercise with them. I caught him off guard. Was like, all right, in 1 minute, I was like, we're gonna just sit, no fidgeting, turn your phones down, no nothing, don't,
mm.
because and so we did it. And I said, I want to know how you felt when you did that. That 1 minute seemed like 10 minutes to some of them women. They
Wow.
couldn't
I could
just be
believe it.
still. Like, they couldn't be still. And so what God was having me to say was talking about the overstimulation, and how
Mm.
we're so overstimulated by everything, right? If we're not, and then if you're not doing anything, there's a lie that whispers in your ear and tells you you're not being productive.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
sometimes the productivity is allowing yourself to get intimate with you. If you can't sit alone with you with nothing to do for 60 seconds without feeling like your head is going to explode,
Yikes.
bring it back.
Wow.
Like, bring it back.
Wow.
And it was, them women were honest. They were like, that was so hard. That was so hard. Because I couldn't stop thinking about what I needed to be doing and what I could be doing. Because I told them, I said, no journaling. I said nothing.
Mm.
I said you can't write nothing down. You can't twirl your hair. You can't clap. You
Wow.
can't do anything. You got to sit still and be alone with you.
Wow.
Nothing required of you.
Hmm. Nothing required of you.
Yeah, but because we are in
Wow.
this, we have the enemy don't have a whole lot of work to do because we're doing it for him, right? Because
Mm.
we are convincing ourselves that if I'm not busy, I'm not exercising the gifts and the anointing that God has given me. But God, the first thing God wants to do is for you to be comfortable with yourself.
Come
Because
on.
how can you give of yourself if you ain't comfortable with you?
Mm.
and
Mm.
and he was dealing with me with that in real time. So that's why when he was putting that in front of me to share with them, I was like, now that's not, wait a minute. And they, and I was like, well, if I gotta go through it, we're gonna all go through it together.
Mm.
And so as we're
Wow.
talking through that, it was probably 20-25 minute conversation. Then at the end, I said, okay, now we're gonna do it again. And I want to know how you feel now. And so then by the time we did it the second time for that 1 minute, it felt different. Now it felt like something they needed to do for themselves. You owe it to yourself to be alone with you.
Mm.
You owe it to yourself.
That's
You give
right.
everything else to everybody else. You owe it to you to
Everybody
do
else.
nothing.
Wow. Wow.
Nothing. I love it. I'm here for it. And I'm so
Wow.
proud of you. I'm proud of you. Because I remember trying to talk to you and tell you, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I love that you are pacing yourself and you are putting out the things that you are led to put out because that's how it's going to make an impact.
Hmm.
If we go out here trying to push out everything that everybody projects on us to push out, trying to meet these projected expectations, and then we
Hmm.
put something out and be like, I don't even like that. They
Hmm.
be like, oh,
Hmm.
listen to me. I don't want to.
Interesting.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I
So,
appreciate it. And thank you, not to cut your thought, but thank you
go
for
ahead.
sharing that story in that experience. I mean, that is when you can talk about women, grown women who were raised and who were around before this digital age really began to catch fire. Um, for them to not be able to sit still, um, it makes me look at myself, and it makes me think holistically how much we really have given ourselves over to productivity. And back to what you said about how, Satan doesn't have to work hard, we do it for ourselves. I actually have had a feeling, um, but I've been delivered from this by the grace of God, would have a feeling that I'm running out of time. So if I
Mm,
don't, if I sit down, if I allow myself to take a break, even in my home, even if the sink is full of dishes, even if the laundry isn't done, and if I allow myself to sit in that, I'm wasting time and I'm losing
mhm,
time. But that's a lie from the enemy, and I'm so sorry, these flies. I'm so grateful that you did that with those women, and thank you for sharing. To sit and be still with yourself, to know yourself, to know God is to know yourself. I mean, it's interchangeable. I
mhm,
love that. I'm gonna have to think on that a little bit.
mhm. And it really is something that makes you like, oh, it makes you conscious of what you need to do for you.
Mm.
We talk about self care and we attach self care with the stuff that you're doing. Go
Yeah,
get your nails done. Go get your hair done. Go buy a new outfit.
go.
Not,
You
not
gotta go.
realizing that for some people, that's anxiety. Like I hate shopping. I hate it. If I can't go in there and get exactly what I need and walk out,
Mm.
it's a wrap.
Mm.
And don't get me wrong, I love a good spa day. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong. But
Mhm.
there's something about taking the opportunity to just calm all the way down. Why do you think we hate hearing? Like, say you're hyped up about something. I mean, you going in, you using all the expletives from A to Z. You making up cuss words. You cussing so bad, and somebody comes along and says, "Hey, calm down," and it makes you angry.
Hmm.
Why?
Because
Why?
we like the power that is powerful. It's like it's a high. It's a high. We
Mm-hmm.
want that power high.
Mm-hmm.
And that, why do we get high? Just period, off of drugs. We get high to detach ourselves from the problems or from the things that we have to deal with, from the undone tasks that are in front of us. So if we're walking around in rage and in anger, we're high off that power. We don't have to sit and look at the dishes. Better yet, we don't have to sit and look at ourselves, the things that God has been trying to, you know, tell us that we need to sit with.
Yes. Yes. See, I told y'all. See, I could talk to her all day, but I'm not gonna do that to y'all. I'm not gonna do that to y'all, okay? But I can, and I'm not going to. So we're gonna round out this hour, and we're gonna talk about what's next for Danie Savage, aka Elle. What's next? What's next? What's next?
um, you know, just allowing myself at this point, I'm just allowing myself to recognize that I accomplished something. I
Mm-hmm.
accomplished this. It's tangible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it also sparked it sparked something in me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also right now I'm writing something, and I'm working on something, and I don't want to give too much details into it. But yeah, make sure that you guys tap in because I'm writing a couple of different books that I hope to get accomplished whenever God says so. No rush. But yeah, still making music. I plan on releasing some new music in January. That is the plan. We also have a song that maybe I'll work on tonight, work on a visual for. My daughter and I did a song together, kind of like a soundtrack for Finding Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really cute song. So if you guys want to, you guys can check it out on Instagram. It'll be up in about a week. And then I'll also post it on YouTube. And yeah, shoot, by the time you guys are watching this, it'll be up. I
Mm-hmm.
think. So yeah, so just music right now is what I'll be focusing on. Yeah.
I love it. So y'all will get a chance to get a few drops of that refreshing water of a voice that she has. Her voice is awesome. You play the guitar too, don't you?
I'm learning. I'm learning.
See what I'm saying? If you don't take anything away from this conversation, just let God just pull it out. Pull it out.
Hmm. Hmm.
Let him pull it out. Let him pull it out. Don't let it
And don't
overwhelm
run
you.
away from it. Don't
Yeah.
run away from it because
Yeah.
it'll keep on tugging at you.
I'm telling you, it'll wake you up out of your sleep some nights and you'll be like,
Hmm.
I don't want to do this. Like,
Hmm.
I think my 2023 has been a transition year for me because of the move and everything like that, and just all of
Hmm.
these different adjustments that we've had to make. I've had to make individually and also as a collective family. We've had to make. So 2023 is coming to an end, and God is already like letting me know, baby, 2024, I'm busting out the gate. And so I'm gonna need you to be ready. Don't play games with me, girl. I've given you an entire year
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
just be a mess and have a messy moment. But 2024, we coming out of the gate with some stuff. And so
Yeah.
I just love, I know you are in your own various transitions, which is fine, but I know you're starting to see that even in those transitions, that God can do all of these other amazing things in tandem. It can just all be working, which makes the
Yeah.
word come to life, that all things work together for the good of them, that
Wow.
love. Like, I don't
Wow.
know if we really put that all together when you
Uh-huh.
couple your circumstances and you couple your struggles with
Yeah.
the outcomes. I love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it.
Wow.
So on the bottom of the screen, if you are watching on YouTube, scrolling at the bottom is Danie's Instagram, and it's D.SHMELLIE. Okay, so it is D and a dot. then Shmellie. So follow her on Instagram, and then I'm going to put the ticker up showing the YouTube channel again and the website. So if you go and you look her up on YouTube, hold on, it just went away. If you go up and look her up on YouTube, you can look her up by Danie Savage, Savage. Okay. And then also her website, mygratitudetea.com. Okay. If you enjoyed this conversation, please leave us a comment, send us an email. We would love to hear from you. If you're listening on the podcast platform, share it with a friend. Give us a few stars. It always helps just to get the visibility out there in the community. And
Yes.
Danie, I want to thank you for carving out time tonight to have this conversation with me and share yourself with the world. So everything you're asking God to do, this is one of those little chips on the pathway that He's helping you to do it. So I appreciate it. I just can't wait to see what comes for you. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all of the things that are in the works and all of the things that you've done. And one of your more greater accomplishments is raising your beautiful daughter. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You deserve an applause for that because mothers don't get enough thanks. So it's a thankless job. And so
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. I cannot wait to see what's to come. And so y'all stay tuned. When Artist Speaks, we have what? Let's see. One more episode after Danie's, and we are closing out season one. I appreciate y'all for sticking in there with me and the
Beautiful.
viewership and the comments and the information. I just appreciate y'all. So, Danie, thank you so much. And we will be in touch again. Y'all make sure to connect with her. And y'all take care, everybody. Have a good evening.
Bye. Bye, Stacey.
Bye bye.